Alright YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. So, I hope you guys liked the last video. So I figured what we would do on this video, this is like kind of part 2 of the last video, is what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to Sweetwater and we're going to build, I don't want to call it like budget, because normally when you see YouTubers do that like a budget guitar rig thing, they always like under $1,000 or under $1,500 or something like that. That's not really what I'm going to do. I want it to be more practical than that. This is going to be like if you were going on tour, if you were like in a like legit gigging touring band and you were leaving to go on the road for like weeks and you wanted to take the best rig you could take for the least amount of money, right? So I don't really know where this is going to come out dollar-wise. It's not going to be anywhere near the $14,200-ish of the last rig that of my actual like of the last video. Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near that for sure. So this is going to be a lot more practical. So let's start where we started last time. Let's start with the pedal board. So I guess we should try to save money anywhere we can, right? So let's just type in Tube Screamer and let's see what we get. It might be kind of hard to beat the Plumes though, being as the Plumes was only $100. Like, this is just going to show Ibanez Tube Screamers. This isn't going to show like other brands Tube Screamers. So I don't really know where else to look for, like, I guess we could just type in overdrive pedals. Let's see what that does. This is going to give us a whole range of stuff. So we're also going to cut some things off of the board because there are things that I do not necessarily use like all the time on the board. I mean, I guess we could just go like this route, right? The Behringer vintage tube overdrive pedal. It's only $29, but I kind of wanted to shy away from like this. I feel like that would be kind of like a cop out to just be like all Behringer pedals, boom. The board only costs $150. You know, I don't want to do that. I want to be a little more practical about it. So let's see if we see anything on here. We're going to have to do the same thing with like the Klon top pedal that I used to. We'll have to find something a little more budget friendly than a J-Rocket Audio Archer. I mean, I said Plumes is probably just, we're probably just going to go with the actual pedal I use because that's about all I see. I mean, I could go with this little mini Tube Screamer here. It's a little cheaper. I'm just not crazy about these mini pedals. Like I said, I have the Ducatone on my board, but it's because it just happens to fit in like the best spot ever on my board. But I prefer to have my pedals be like normal size pedals. So we're just gonna go with the Plumes. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's make a new list here. I deleted the old guitar rig list, so we'll call this one. We'll call this one Tour Rig. Why not? Okay, so there's our Plumes. Now let's just hit the Klon clone territory here. Go ahead and get this one out of the way. See what we got here. I mean, I guess I could just go Tumnus. Ooh, we could go Soul Food. Soul Food is only $100. Sugar Drive. Excuse me there. Okay. Yeah, let's just go with the let's go with the Soul Food. That'll be like my Klon style pedal, if you will. Okay, unfortunately, I don't think there is a substitute for the drop pedal. We're going to check out this EHX Harmonics. Is that what it's called? No, it's the Pitchfork. That's what it is. The EHX Pitchfork. I've heard that this is like very similar to the drop pedal, and it's a little cheaper. I think it does all the same stuff. So let's see. Electronics, polyphonic pitch shifter pedal. Let's see here. I don't know if this just does like detuning. Isn't this like kind of their version of like the whammy, but it's like a yeah, I don't know if this just does straight detuning. I don't. It might. I could be wrong here. So like, don't hold that against me. I've never used the pedal. I've never tried it. I don't know a lot about it. So for the sake of just like not knowing that much, we're just gonna get a Digitech drop pedal. Oh look, it's the same price. So yeah, we'll just do that. So a couple of things that we're going to cut off the board. I don't need the Ducatone. I don't need that. I also don't need the delay pedal and the Terra Echo. I don't need those. We're going to get a Boss MS3 because this is super integral to my rig. It's like the whole rig is like built around it. And the reason I don't need the Terra Echo and the delay is because this has a Terra Echo and like a DD3 built into it. The reason that I have separate Terra Echo and delay pedals on my board is because they're outside of the loops of the MS3, and when you turn them off, the echo and delay trails like naturally kind of decay off. And when you use the internal delay and Terra Echo of the MS3 unit, they don't do that. They just like hard chop off and go to the next patch. That kind of irritates me a little bit, but it's not like the end of the world, right, for like what we're doing here. So we're just gonna roll with the internal Terra Echo and delay effects of the MS3. So that cuts out like 3 pedals. Where we need the MXR brick, the MXR DC brick. We need that again. I mean, it's only $90. Like, I could find cheaper power supplies, but I don't trust them as much. This is really good and really solid. So we're just gonna roll with it. Again, remember, we're not trying to build like the cheapest rig imaginable. We're trying to build like the cheapest, like road-worthy touring rig that we can build. So we're not going for just like absolute bottom of the barrel stuff here. We want it to survive in a trailer, you know, being pulled by a van on the road and everything like that, right? Like, it's got to survive hundreds of shows and touring and all that kind of stuff. So let's get our pedal train board again. Again, like with the last video, I don't know what size board we're gonna need per se, but let's save a little money. We're not gonna get the one with like the metal case like I have. We'll get the one with the bag. It'll be fine. So we'll do that. That'll save us a little bit. Tour rig. Here we go. Okay, so let's take a look at it and see what we got. And again, like last time, I'm not including cabling just because. So we got our board power supply, the MS3, my overdrives, my drop pedal. Ooh, a wah. We're gonna go with the Dunlop Mini wah. Just because it's cheap. Here we go, it's $100. Boom. So now we got my wah, and the pedal board will more or less do all the things my pedal board does. Maybe not as efficiently, but it'll do them. Alright. Amps. So, when thinking about amps, there's really only one amp I can think of that is going to do it for me here. So it's the Marshall DSL 100. Let's see if they have it. Marshall DSL 100 head and 212 cabinet for $1,700. I would really prefer to have a 412 cabinet. That's just me. Let's see if here we go. So the difference between the 412 bundle and the 212 bundle is $150. So for 150 extra bucks, I would rather have the 412 cabinet. That's just me. Your mileage may vary. Yeah. So we're going to add that to the list. Boom. Now let's see where we are. Let's see where we are price-wise. So we're at $3,008 so far. So that's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. So guitars. Now, we could go a couple of routes here for guitars. I've got a couple of things in mind. We could go Epiphone. That's like the obvious choice. But let's check out some LTDs. I really like LTDs too. I've owned a bunch of ESPs and LTDs in the past. They're really good guitars. So let's see what we can come across in LTD land. Maybe we can. Like, see, this is $600. Like, we could go something like this route here, because we're gonna want to get two guitars. Remember, we're going on tour. We're not gonna go on tour with one guitar. We're not living that dangerously. So we want two guitars, and we want them to not suck. So, but I also want things that I like. I also want to take something on tour I'm gonna like. I don't want to just take whatever on tour, right? Man, I really like this Black Cherry, but I'm not spending. But we're not doing that. We're not doing a $1,400 guitar. Here we go. Here's an LTD EC256 in black. This is a pretty nice looking guitar here. So $600. Let's add it for now, and we'll come back to LTDs. I want to go look at some Epiphones now. I don't know how to type. Alright, here we go. Epiphone Les Pauls. See, we could go. This is a little more expensive. Not a lot. It's only $30 more for an Epiphone. Right? What was it? The LTD was $599, $600. Or was it $699? Let's go look real quick. I can't remember what it was. I literally just looked at it. No, it's $599. Okay, so it is going to be about $130 more for an Epiphone Custom. That's what I would prefer. Standard's $50 more. So again, like, I know people will be like, why not just get something like this? Because I don't want to tour with this guitar. Like, you know, if we were building some kind of super budget, like under $1,000 rig, sure. But we're not doing that. We're going on tour, remember? So we want to build like a legit tour rig, but we want to save as much money as possible. But we also want to enjoy what we're doing. So I think I've kind of made my mind up here. This is what we're going to do. And this will be controversial, I know. I'm going to get rid of the LTD. It's a cool guitar. I'm not knocking it at all. I really like these guitars. But we are going to get a white Epiphone Les Paul Custom because clearly why can't I add this to my excuse me. Why can't I add this to my list? What's going on? Let's refresh. Okay, there we go. Add this to my list. Alright. And we need another guitar, and I know which one I want, and this is going to be a little controversial, but I don't care, because it's got an artist tax on it. It's a signature model. I want a Jerry Cantrell Wino. The only reason I'm picking this guitar is because I'm actually thinking about buying one of these. So, this guitar is awesome. Look at this finish. Yeah. 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 We're going to add one of these to it. Alright, so this should be it. So we got 2 guitars. We've got 2 Epiphone Les Paul Customs. We've got our Marshall half stack. We've got our pedal board. We got a wah, the actual board, the power supply, the MS3. Got the 2 overdrive pedals I need, and the Digitech drop pedal. And that brings us to $4,586.51. So, I know some of you are going to look at this and be like, man, that's not a budget guitar rig. Like, what are you talking about? And you're right. It's not a budget guitar rig in the sense of, like, what you're used to seeing in these types of videos. Again, that's not what we're trying to do. Like, if we wanted to build a $1,000 guitar rig, we could do that. I want to build a touring rig. A rig that I would take on the road with my band and be confident in every night. Regardless of the venue. Like, you know, if you're playing a DIY underground show with a small PA system, this Marshall will handle it. If you're playing like a theater or a club with a nice sound system and a sound guy there and everything like that, you're all good to go. Like, this will cover anything. You know, if you just headed out on tour with a 20 watt combo amp, at the clubs and theaters you'd be fine. But if you were playing, you know, if you showed up to a gig and the PA system was a little sus and they didn't have an in-house sound guy, and all of a sudden now you're like, oh, my 20 watt amp won't, you know, like in a perfect world you wouldn't run into those kind of situations on tour, but you do sometimes. I know from personal experience. Sometimes you show up to a club and you're like, oh man, who booked this one? You know? So, this is our tour rig right here, our budget tour rig, for $4,586. I mean, it's 10 grand cheaper than the other rig. So, I guess there's some, take some condolence in that, I guess. Now, am I saying that you have to have a rig like this in order to tour? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying at all. The entire point of these 2 videos was just mainly to just have fun with it, because it's just fun to look at all this stuff. But mainly to just, I wanted to show my actual rig, or like an approximation of my actual rig. And then I wanted to show a rig that I would be comfortable touring with, because it would have guitars in it that I'm used to playing. Like, I'm used to playing Les Pauls, so these are going to feel right to me. They're going to sound the way I want them to sound. They're going to feel the way I want them to feel. I've got my Marshall half stack. That's what I've been using for years. That's the kind of tone I like. I know how to dial those amps in really well. And then it has all of the pedals and stuff that I'm used to using, and the sounds and tones I'm used to getting out of a pedal board. So that's the whole point of this. I'm not trying to be like, this is a budget rig. So don't jump in the comments and be like, that ain't no budget rig. Yeah, I know, man. Come on. Chill out, okay? But, you know, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. All the YouTube stuff. Get in the comments. You know, one thing I would really like to know is if you're in a band and you gig and tour, and you built a much more budget-friendly rig than this that like actually accomplishes real like live touring things, you know, like, yeah, anybody can be like, man, my rig's way cheaper than that, and it's like $100 guitar and a Boss Katana, you know. It's like, well, yeah, of course it's cheaper than this, but if you have a real functioning like touring guitar rig, and it's like half the price of this or something, like, list it out in the comments. Like, let me know what you got. I'd like to see that. I'm interested in it. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, and that's it. We'll be back next week.